So yes, the regulatory environment. Some people think incorrectly that online marketplace lending is not really regulated. It is actually heavily regulated, it just doesn't have any specific regulation written for it yet. So on the investor side, as I talked about with Lending Club and Prosper, every single loan is considered a security. Everything's registered with the SEC. Even despite that, they're not registered, not available in all 50 states. I think Lending Club is a bit over 40 and Prosper is over 30. And as far as those are non-accredited investors. So if you're an accredited investor, it's a bit different story. And which gets me on to my next point is that every other platform, with the exception of one or two, are only available to accredited investors. And for those platforms, the securities are issued under Regulation D of the Securities Act of 1933, and that is how they're able to bring accredited investors from all 50 states onto their platform. On the borrower side, we have a myriad of federal regulations. Any regulation that applies to a bank applies to this industry, in part because these loans are originated actually by banks for the most part. These platforms will partner with an originating bank, an FDIC member chartered bank, and they will originate the loan. They'll hold the loan for a brief period of time on their balance sheet, the bank will, and then they will transfer it over to the platform. So all of the same lending laws that you see there, and I think there's like 13, I think in total, but there's a myriad of federal regulations, and in addition to that, there's also state requirements on the borrower side as well. So as I said, regulators are showing increased interest. That's a list of the regulators that just in the last 3 months have come on board and said, yeah, we are going to take a look at this industry now. And that doesn't actually include the state of California, which recently said they're doing it as well. But these government agencies are all looking at the industry to see whether or not they should really recommend some new regulations. There was the Treasury just released a white paper. It was Tuesday of last week, and they came out with basically some suggestions. They got input from the industry, and they have come out now with really for the most part, a pretty sensible white paper. On the small business side, there was a few people that were not all that happy with it, but overall, I think it was a pretty impressive effort by the Treasury, and that's going to go now to all the lawmakers, and all these other federal bureaus as well are going to be taking a look. There will certainly be some kind, or I shouldn't say certainly, nothing's certain, it's an election year, but there is high likelihood that there will be some sort of regulatory change in the near future.